Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, whichever it is to you. Happens to be afternoon here on the East Coast. And Joe McBride and Eric Beyer are here, along with 4 other people right now. Gonna wait a few minutes and give people a chance to catch up to their notifications and figure out we're in here. And then I'll get started. I've got a Seattle Fed Reserve roll here. This is a 1956D Seattle Fed Reserve roll. Both ends are very nicely and tightly wrapped. This is an original bank wrapped roll here. Hello, farm dog. I really wish I could understand why my viewership does not show me what I'm actually dealing with. I think it's the popped out chat part. I'm not sure. We'll get it figured out, though. A little of a barometric pressure change here recently because of the tropical storm moving through the area, or the remnants of a tropical storm moving through the area, has played havoc with my head. Nifty little headaches I've been having the last couple of days. Hopefully we can get that resolved sometime real soon. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this roll apart. Use my nifty little tool here to pry open the ends. And what I do is I just very gently but firmly tug on the ends with this little rake stick until I can get the wrapper peeled off. And get that wrapper peeled in that one spot, and then I can kind of go around the roll and do the same and just pry that thing open. You like that coin dig I did? Awesome. I'll probably do some more of that. I've got a lot of rolls that don't really fit the original category. You know, they're ones I would prefer not to sell the coins ahead of time because I don't have a lot of faith in them being worth a good sales price. But if I were to go through the roll and find anything in the roll, then I could immediately auction the items that I find, and people would have the opportunity to own them only if they're winners. Sounds like a pretty solid plan to me. All right, we have a roll of very shiny. These are very nice. Wow. Very shiny 1956 D Lincoln cents. Let me take a look at one of these. Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are nice bright coins. No toning down, no color changes. They are bright red coins. So I got 50 names here I'm about to add to my bag. Get the 50 names in my bag and draw number 1 out. Hello, Jeff Dunn. All right, Bill Betts. Bill Betts gets the first coin in the roll. Let's see what we have for Bill Betts. Oh, pretty nice looking coin, but I need to move it down to look at it better. Yeah, let's see what we have here. Yeah, we have nothing around the date and mint mark area, and not a doubled I. No doubling around Liberty. Now these little guys, this 1956D, real high mintage year, but it tends to be one of those hit or miss years for some really nice and really valuable varieties. So far, we've not lifted any of the great varieties out of this particular date. I know that's got to be coming sometime soon, right? You can't go through dozens of rolls and not come up with anything. So we're going to keep prodding along until we figure something out. Hello, Coins and Currency. I'm going to mix them up better. Get these good and mixed up. Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley will pick out coin number 2. And this one has a spot. Not a good spot. just as I was touting how nice these rolls were seeming to look. Oh, Adam. We pull one out that doesn't have a lot of pretty to it. It's nice and red, but it's got some black spots. That's coin number 2. That'll go to Mr. Worley. Coin number 3 now. Deanne. Deanne's coin number 3 looks like this. A little bit of a hit on the 9. Otherwise, only small spots. Hello, TNO. So I talked yesterday a lot about the different things that we look for on coins. As far as die state and things like that are concerned, die scratches and difference between scratches on the coin and die scratches. Well, right now, I'm going to go over a little bit about spots and grading, because I know grading seems to be an enigma for a lot of people. There's Andrew O'Neill. And I'll do it by showing you grading on the coins themselves. Now, see, of course, I would have to pick one that's in near perfect condition to show you. See that little die scratch coming down off the 1 toward the center of the 9? We're going to use that as a marker. We're going to show ourselves that we're getting the same roll, same dies over and over again in this roll to prove that it's an original roll. This coin actually, see those couple of little marks down below the R in Liberty? Okay, first of all, grading a coin. Grading a coin is largely 60% obverse and 40% reverse. So the obverse is more important than the reverse, obviously. And so now we have a coin here that has very, very few marks on it. In fact, I'm going to slide up to grading level. This is actually the level at which you should be looking at the coins to grade. Okay. We have a spot right in the middle of the forehead, and we have a couple little scrapes below the R. Now, if you start out at 70, and you work on taking a couple of spots, couple of little spots or flecks here and there, a point, you're talking about like a 66 coin here. Now, here's the other way to look at this. The other way to look at it is that you need a gem coin. You need a coin that's a gem 65 coin. Take a look at it, and then you can figure out what goes on from there. So an MS-60, for instance, an MS-60 is a heavily marked up coin. It's barely worthy of calling uncirculated. And then there's a 62. 62 is a select coin. This coin right here is a select coin. That's a 62. It's got spots, it's got stains, it's got all those little things. It's otherwise a gem coin. It doesn't have very many marks on it. It's just got spots and color. Okay. Now, once you start moving up to 63, 64, 65, 63 can have a few spots. It can have a few scrapes. And a 64 is going to be a coin that has fewer spots and scrapes than the 63. 64 is the highest grade a coin can attain without a complete strike. This one is a complete strike. So then 65. What are we looking at for 65? A 65 coin is going to be one that is not top quality. It's going to have some marks. It's going to have some issues. And then a 66, which is what this is. This is a 66. It's clearly a 66. This one has one dark spot on the rim just above the L in Liberty and below the I and N, right in between Liberty and N. There's a dark spot right on the rim. There's a dark spot on the rim out by the 6 of the date. Those count very, very minor. But then you've got that spot. See if I can find that spot again. See, if you have to look to find the spots, they probably don't count for much. That thing on the forehead was not actually a spot, I don't think. So it looks like it's coming out completely clean to me. So, your obverse only has those little marks below the R of Liberty and the couple of little marks I just mentioned out on the field. So here, look on the reverse, we have a scrape mark down below America, and that's kind of typical for these. And you've got a mark up above the T in cent. That's it, folks. This is a 67 reverse. And then the obverse, I could call a 67, but here's another challenging issue. The grading companies are going to look at your coin, then they're going to look at a value chart. They're going to see that 67 is quite scarce for 1956D. And then they're going to look at, does this coin really, really make the grade, or does it not quite make the grade? Is it a low end for the grade? Because if it is, and the grade step in value is from, say, $50 to $2,000, they're going to grade at the $50 side. They're going to be conservative. So this will probably grade a 66. Given that this would grade a 66 instead of a 67, means that this coin is not going to be a submittable coin simply because the value of a 66 is low enough that there's no real profitability in having this coin graded. There is a little bit above the O and 1. But this is a very well solid struck coin. So this one's going to go a 66. This would be probably a 66, possibly a 67. I would chance it. I would send this one in just to see. But that's what we've got. And this is only the fourth coin in this roll, meaning that there's a lot of coins for us yet to go through. And when you're at this level, you can see every little pinhole, every little flaw, every little mistake, every little spot. And so when we look through coins like this, they look rather typical, you know? They don't really look good until you back up enough to actually look at the coin. And this one's fantastic. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse real quick. There's that big scrape below the MER of America. Then there's this one little scrape mark up above the E. And wow, there's a little tiny bit above the O. This is a very, very nice roll. So I have Adam Connor and Adam Chambers in here. Hello, guys. Got Tim Morrell, Thomas. Fun times. Fun Times 16, how are you doing today? So this one's going to go to Andrew O'Neill, Black Cloud Mining. And now I'm ready to move on to the next coin. Coin number 5. Coin number 5 is going to go to CVS. So I'm going to give you some indication as to grade as I'm going through these coins, because I think it's worthy of you guys being able to see what a coin looks like and see what it grades. The problem I have is that I can't do every single coin because we're going to be lifting and dropping the microscope on a pretty regular basis. I think I can get it to a level where I can see both. Let me try. I think this level will allow me to see the die varieties, plus allow me to grade the coin. So this one we can see a few spots on the reverse. There's, you know, a couple here, a couple there. They're all relatively small spots. There's nothing huge, nothing large. Let's take a look at the obverse again. We've got just a little bit going on below the bust. We have a little scrape on the shoulder. And out here in the field in front of the face, we've got a significant amount of chatter. I'm going to call this an MS64 red. MS64 red is what this coin would grade. A little bit too much chatter for a 65. It's just, I'm not comfortable with a 65 on this. It could go 65 at the grading service, but I wouldn't be comfortable calling it a 65. Let's take a look at the next coin. Coin number 6. is for Adam Chambers. Okay, this one's a little spotty. Not an RPM. Has a little bit of spottiness to it. But it's still a very bright and very lustrous coin. So given that it's very bright and very lustrous, but has some spots, I'm going to go a 64 on this one as well by the obverse. Now let's take a look at the reverse. You can grade each side independently. And then you just have to kind of take your independent feel from either side and put them together. So this one's probably a 64 as well. So I'm just going to go 64 overall on this coin. You're right about that. This one's got spots. I hate spots. Well, I don't hate spots. I just don't like them. There you go, Tim. Speak up, you get a coin. How's that work? Let's see what this one looks like. Looks like I'm going to have to get closer to this one. Maybe. Yeah, I'll need to get closer to this one. We'll grade it first, and then I'll move down. Now see, this one's still got some spots, but the spots aren't quite as bad as the last two coins. You've got some spots, but they're not bad. So it's a nice, bright, lustrous coin. That's what's really going for these, is that they're nice and bright and lustrous. Luster is a lot of the equation in grading. This one, even though it's got some scrape marks on it, even though it's got some spots, we're going to call this one a 65 red because this is an absolutely beautiful, bouncy looking coin. Now, let me move in and take a look at the variety on here because I think I might have something on the mint mark. Maybe. Nope. Thought I did there for a second, but I don't. So we'll be able to move on to the next coin. That's coin number 7 for Tim Morrell. Now, coin number 8. Coin number 8 will go to Mr. Patat. Coin number 8, what do we find? Yeah, it looks like I've got a nothing here. Nothing on the eye. Nothing on Liberty. Let's take a look at the other side. And don't generally expect to find anything on the reverse side of 1956 D Lincoln cents. And just a little bit of really light damage on that one. Oh, what's about my style, Steven? I said I'm willing to downgrade a coin because I don't think it's really worth the next level up. Is that what it is? What did I do there? I set a coin on the name block. I'm an idiot today. Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton gets the next coin. Let's raise up a little bit. Just a little bit so that we can see some of the features. That's the same die as that last one that I got confused with because now I can see that there's a little protrusion out of the 1 there. Looks like a little die crack or something headed out of the 1. The D nearly touches the date, and that's one that you really want to be looking at closely because there's a couple of different really nice ones where the D is real close to the date. Okay, we have a few spots on this one. Big old hit right on the shoulder. But even with that, you've still got a very bright coin. It's a very bright, lustrous coin. I'm still going to go with a 65 on this. Not a 64 level. It's, and then the reverse, very slightly weakly struck, very slightly. Otherwise, a very nice surface on this one. A little spot out there next to the wheat. Yeah, we're at 65 red on this one. That's coin number 9 by Paul Hampton. And now, coin number 10, Jeremy Johnson. Let's see. A little spot between the 9 and the 5 of the date, but I think we've seen this particular die before, I do believe. Little spot down below the D, but not a huge deal. Now see, this one, there's enough chatter on here and there's enough stuff going on that I would want to call this a 64 already. And hope that the reverse is enough to hold that up. And it is. Reverse is enough to hold up a 64 grade, possible 65 on this one. So that's what we have there. That's coin number 10. This is a very fantastic roll. It's a very nice roll. This was sourced from Tim Rathjen in Washington State. Adam Chambers. Adam Chambers for the next coin in the roll. What do we have? What is that stuff down there? Of course, I'm not going to be able to zoom in. I'm too high up. What do we have here? Okay, that's just a couple of spots. It's not, they're die hits. They're raised on the coin, so they're die hits. I thought that might have been, for just a second, I thought it might have been RPM number 8, which would have been fantastic. But it turns out that it's not RPM 8. That's just a little raised area of metal on the coin. A die dent. And we'll keep moving around, keep looking. I'd be at a 64 red on this one too. Yeah, 64 red. The reverse is enough to prop up the obverse. If the reverse was as bad as the obverse, I might even be a challenge on a 63 on that. But the reverse is nice. It props up the obverse, and the obverse is, oh, it's kind of marked up a little bit. So I'm going to go with 64 on it. And here's coin number 12. Alejandro. And this one has that little die crack coming off the 1 in the date, so it's going to be a non-variety. We've seen this die a few times before. Nice and clean on the obverse. Now, do you remember that coin that we did, the very first one, and how mark-free it was? Had a couple of dark stains on the rim, but it was a very much a mark-free coin. Very nice one. That one, I would probably be 66 shot 67 on that. Shot 67 means that if they're having a great day and they're not really paying very close attention, they'll throw a 67 grade on it. This one could be a 66. This one's real close to a 66, so it's a 5-shot 6. I think it's actually a pretty solid 6. Because you have to remember, again, we're looking at these coins way close up. And when I pull these things out from underneath the microscope and take a good look at them, just looking at the coin with my glasses on, because I need glasses to see, I think it's actually going to turn out to be a 66 coin. Very bright luster, very nice coin with nice surfaces too. Stonecutter is going to get lucky coin number 13. Let's see what's on lucky coin number 13. Okay, this one's got the die scratch coming down from the 1 of the date. And we've checked this die thoroughly. There's nothing on this die for die varieties. And then looking around, it looks like we again have a 66 quality coin. PCGS would probably grade most of these 66s a 65, just because they like being the strictest grader. Meaning that they like being the strictest grader, they also rob a lot of collectors of good grades. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan. Timothy Morel. And his next coin is this one. Another decent looking 56D. Get a little bit of encouragement out of the fact that there are a lot of coins with the mint mark pretty close to the date. If that continues through all the different dies in this roll, which I'm not sure we've seen yet, there are two different ones that are really nice RPMs that have mint marks close to the date. Nothing on that one. That's coin number 14. Now to move on to coin number 15. Andrew O'Neill, Black Cloud Mining. And again, we have one of the ones that has the die scratch or die, it's a die crack on the bottom of the one of the date. And on this one, the mint mark is exceptionally close to the 9. So does anyone have any particular questions I might be able to talk you through while we're looking at coins? I'm thinking we're going to end up with a variety-free roll here for some reason. I'm just thinking that. We're up to 15 coins and haven't found anything yet. Hello, Les Wiley. Thank you for the thumbs up, sir. Got a pretty roll opening up here. Really nice bright gem coins. This is another one that has the little die dots down below the D. You got 3 little die dots down there. Something tells me it's the 3 blind mice. Got no die varieties in this roll yet. Haven't seen anything. No double dies, no RPMs yet. Number 17. Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley will get coin number 17, and this is another one that has the little die dots down below the 7. Or down below the D, I'm sorry. Where did that come from? There's no 7 on this coin. This is one of those things where I keep thinking I want to do a podcast, but I'm not exactly sure what I would do a podcast of. But it would be really cool to do a podcast. Anybody here think of any real good topics that I could use for a podcast? Have fun buying your new car, Tim Morel. I, for one, hate that process. But that's just me. My opinion is that I would like to be able to tell you, I want this, this, and this in a car. Come back when it's done. Park it in my driveway. And I'll give you $1,000 for the trouble. I hate car shopping that much. minor carbon spot in the upper E of 1. You know what generally chews you up with the S mints from the 40s is the luster. They're not bright enough to get a high grade. Because luster like this, I mean, this is superb luster. This luster is enough to carry you all the way up to a 68 grade if you've got the coin to support it. But very, very commonly, the ones in the 40s just don't have the luster to support anything above a 66 grade. And for the case of profiting from a submission, you have a lot of people who have submitted a lot of coins that have gotten 65 and 66 grades in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Especially the early 50s, but not so much in the late 50s. That you got so many 66 grades in those, your value for the coin is barely a few dollars over the submission fee cost. So if you happen to sell them for full value after you get them back, this is MS66 reg coins from generally around 1944 up through probably 1954, 1955. You're lucky to get your submission fee back and profit a few dollars on the coin. Yeah, bulk grading is a way to go. Bulk grading works. But the problem with bulk grading, it's like I sent in 3 rolls of 1937 Lincoln cents one time. 83 coins came back MS67 red. Well, try selling 83 coins on your own to the eBay crowd or any other crowd for anywhere near the standard retail value for that issue, which is about $125. Let me know how that works out. It's not going to happen. I was the 37s in 67 red. I was literally giving them away at $60-$70 a coin because I could not sell them anywhere close to the suggested retail value of $120 plus. I did get a couple of good marks in that particular submission, though. I submitted, probably 15 1948 Lincolns, and I got a 67 red back. 1948 plain and MS67 red, yeah, that was NGC. The 1948 plain and a 67 red is I still believe it's over $1,000 coin. It's like $1,400. Of course, the coin was, I don't know, $3-5, and the submission fee was $12. I made a little bit on that one. But you end up with one of those things where your best few coins is going to have to carry your submission, and then you end up with a pile of coins at the end that you just wonder what to do with. So I just kind of hold on to them, figure out, well, maybe one of these days I'll do something. This one's got a substantial spot down there. This one's not going to go above a 64 in grade simply because of the spotting on it. That's spotting you can actually see when you look at ambient reflective light, which is like the white light that bounces down off your ceiling. If you get that reflecting back up into the coin and not direct light, that's how you see all your spots. I have a photograph somewhere on Facebook that illustrates that. Running into a lot of coins of the same die, and we are not running into any die varieties, which It's not completely unheard of, but it would be a little bit on the unusual side to finish off a 56D roll without finding any varieties. But it is possible. This one's a little spotty too. Now these are actually not spots as much as they are stains. Stains only change the color of the surface of the coin. They're not spots because spots are actually eating into the surface of the coin. Stains are very inert. They do change the grade of the coin. They do change the appearance of the surface of the coin. They are something that are difficult, if not impossible, to take off safely. But they're not going to continue to harm the coin. Here's Jeff Dunn. There's another one with the spots down below the D. So we've seen this die before. Let's talk a little bit about marks and their location. You have prime focal areas. You have different types of focal areas where your spots and your stripes and your hits and marks are going to make more difference or less difference. And this is a prime example of that. With this coin, you have some chatter right out in front of the mouth and nose. That is a prime focal area. Where Lincoln is looking is very important because your eyes as humans or as mammals tend to lead in the direction of what something else is looking at. So he's looking in this area and you are seeing a lot of chatter out in the area where he's looking. Those scrapes and marks are not deep, but they do count for more than this big mark right here on the lapel. The reason for that is because this is in a higher detail area, and given that it's in a higher detail area, it just happens to parallel a natural design element on the coin. So it almost can blend in with the design of the coin. Given that, it's not going to count for a whole lot in downgrading the coin. Now, these other marks up here will, but this mark will not, because it parallels the edge of the lapel. So you need to think about that too. You've got higher concentration of marks in high detail areas, just like this little scrape right above the brow. That's a hit on the coin, but it pretty much parallels the brow, which means it's not going to count for much because it's not highly visible. This is highly visible because when you pull the coin out and just look at it, these are going to be the first thing that you're going to see. And then you're going to see this. But you're not really going to notice this one until you see these. And then this stuff up here, that's all scratches, but this stuff up here, you're really not even going to notice that. So it's a matter of what's there. What are you looking at? Where are they? Are they spots that are pretty well hidden? Are they scrape marks or other things? See that spot right there on the wheat? It's kind of hidden just a little bit because it's in a higher detail area. You're not going to notice it nearly as quickly as you're going to notice spots right out in the middle of the field. Like that one. That's actually a hit, a contact mark, right out in the field next to the T, and I guarantee you when you look at this with your naked eye, that's going to stand out. You're going to see it. This stain over here on the wheat, there's actually two stains over on the wheat and one just above the U of United. Those are not going to stand out because they are in higher detail areas. They're in areas where there are a lot of shadows cast on the coin. So you're not going to downgrade the coin as much for those as you will that one nifty large mark right out next to the T. Now, coin number 25. Coin number 25, we're halfway through the roll now. It's going to go to Farm Dog. Let's see what we got for Farm Dog. We got another one of the coins that has the little marks down below the D. That's a big marker for, well, not much of anything. Okay, now this one has a substantial amount of chatter throughout the obverse. It's got some spots, but there's chatter pretty much everywhere on this coin. But it's all light. None of it's like big giant black spots or very heavily unattractive things. It kind of blends itself out because it's spread all over the surface of the coin. Now you still have, see there's more of it right there. you still have a good fair shake of luster on this coin. Given that you still have a good fair shake of luster, you've got a lustrous coin that has some slight issues. I'm going to call this one a 63 red. And that would be what a 63 red looks like. And that one's for Farm Dog. Moving on now to the next coin. If anybody has any specific questions for me, I can answer them while I'm doing this. I can talk and look at the same time. Especially in a roll like this where most of the coins are turning out to be like 3 different dies and none of them are varieties. It's kind of a good roll and a dud roll all at the same time. Never know with sealed rolls, never know what you're going to get out of them. Anything can happen. I'm waiting for that time that we pull, half a dozen RPM number 1 out of a roll, or we pull some RPM number 8. RPM number 8 in a red BU is a very difficult coin to find. Gonna say very difficult. Here's Mr. Elliott. Mr. Elliott gets a coin that has the dots below the G. You got the dots below the mint mark down there, so this is going to be yet another example of that same die that sports nothing. This one's got a spot out in the middle of the field that it's a contact mark out in the middle of the field that's going to take it probably out of superb gem status. We've got a few spots that'll keep that from happening too. So this one does appear to be a 65 red though. It's pretty clean. Except for that one spot in the field. One spot's not going to knock a coin down below 65. The reverse is going to have a little bit of trouble supporting a 65, but the obverse is actually pretty clean, so I would still call this a 65 red even with this chatter. Now my grading system, because eBay and a lot of Facebook groups and other entities don't like you assigning number grading to coins because, well, only a professional can do that. Adam, generally a minor carbon spot on anything is going to knock it down below 68 level. So you're looking at a 67. And now it kind of depends on the placement of the little carbon spot. If you've got like a coin that's absolutely immaculate, beautiful, near perfect in every way, and you've got a little tiny carbon spot down inside the R of trust, you still probably have a 68 coin. Now that's also going to depend on what is the value of a 68 coin. Is it a $60,000 coin if it's a 68? You're probably not going to get it. Because there has to be arguably absolutely no reason why they could not call it a 68 for you to get one that's one of the top dollar coins. So there's really a lot of factors that go into it. Hello, Paul Hampton. There's a lot of factors about value. And I've had people argue it with me before, and nobody can prove it one way or the other, so it's basically an opinion-based statement when I say, I think to some extent it depends on who is submitting the coin as well, and how it's submitted, because people have experience with submitting higher grade coins. And those people tend to get better grades than the people who submit them onesie-twosie and don't really understand how they look at coins when they grade. That usually overwhelming them with a stack of coins is probably better than submitting one or two coins. Okay, but back to my grading standard, and I saw that on the eye, it's nothing. It's a deep die scratch, and there's a struck through down below the right wheat, near the rim. So my grading. I use word grading because eBay and Facebook groups and other entities don't like you assigning number grades to coins. So my grading system is very simple, it's very easy, and it really supports Lincoln Cents more than anything else. But I'll tell you how it works. So you have three colors with Lincoln Cents when you're talking about grading. You have a brown, a red brown, and a red. I have words that match brown, and red. Brown coin is UNC. A red brown coin is MS, or mint state. UNC and mint state mean the same thing, but for the purpose of my grading system, an UNC is brown and MS is red brown. And then BU, brilliant uncirculated, is red. These are all BU coins here. See, this one gets downgraded, but this is almost to the point of being called damage. Pretty heavy hits. Sorry about that, Jeremy, but it is. It's something that kind of sparkles when you look at the coin, and it's obviously going to hit the grade. It's going to be a 64 coin just because of that. So you have UNC, you have MS, and you have BU. Now, given the number scale that we use from 60 to 70 for an uncirculated coin, we're going to go to the bottom of that scale and say nothing beyond the color if we are at a 60 or a 61 coin. That's just an UNC coin, it's just an MS coin, or it's just a BU coin. You can have an MS60 red coin that's damaged or otherwise has problems but has never changed color. So now if you have a 62 level coin, I use the word select. So if it's a select MS, it's a 62 red brown. Now my next level up is choice. If it's a 63 grade coin, I call it choice. You have a choice. Oh, I didn't put Jeff Dunn's name in that one. Drew another name. Hang on just a second. A 63 level coin is a choice. If you have a 63 red coin, it's going to be a choice BU. If you have a 63 brown, it's going to be a choice UNC. Oh, look at that. RPM number 3. Boom. Hit a nice RPM number 3 right there. A D over D North. Very nice. That's Mike Birchman. See, we are 32 coins into a roll found the first RPM. You really just got to be patient with these things. They do happen. So that's a beautiful mid to late die state. It's a late mid die state. 1956D, RPM number 3. 1956D 1mm003. It has a stain on the jacket, but it's a very nice RPM. Very nice RPM. I'll flip it over and take a look at the reverse and see if we have any error issues on the reverse. These do not come with double die reverses. And kind of a rather heavy dig right on the E of 1. So there we go. I'm actually going to have to pull my little slide drawer out and actually make a spot for die number 1 on the day is RPM number 3. And on to coin number 33. Now that makes this a little bit more. I don't know if that one's cherry pickers or not. I don't think it is. I do know it's a top 100, but I don't know if it's a cherry picker listed. CM Silver does not get a number 3. Now, so on with my grading. If you have a brown coin and it's a 63 brown, it's going to be a choice UNC. Now, 64 is that level where you're coming out of choice and going toward gem, but it's not quite a choice and it's not quite a gem, so I do choice to gem. Choice to gem BU coin is a 64 red. Choice to gem MS would be a 64 red brown. After 64 is 65 would be gem. So gem UNC is a 65 brown. And then for 66 I generally use a plus. Gem UNC plus would be a 66 brown. Gem BU plus, 66 red. 67 gets the word superb, S-U-P or superb, depending on how much space I have. And you're generally, listen to me very carefully here, you're generally never going to find a 67 brown. 67s usually only come in red or red brown for cents. So you have a Superb Gem MS or a Superb Gem BU. Now, I don't personally sell anything I think will grade a 68 without submitting it. I'll submit it first to get verification that it's a very high-grade coin. And then if I believe it's a very high-grade coin and it comes back in a 68 holder, we can negotiate price after that. No, Stephen, I've seen this die a few times in this roll. That's a die scratch. But it is very conveniently placed to look like a double die lid. Not in the cherry picker. The 56D number 3 is not a cherry picker listed variety, but it is a top 100 RPM. I can tell you that for sure. I do know that. Got nothing on number 35. It's a Silver Rufus. And coin number 36. Stonecutter. Stonecutter gets coin number 36, and it is also not an RPM. This is the one that has the die dots below the D. I do not know why I keep trying to say 7. There is no 7 on a 1956 D Lincoln cent. A little spot, a little stain up above the RT. Another one above the Y, and another one to the east of the Y, and another one down here next to the shoulder. It's got a few small spots on it. I'd call this a 65 red. A few small spots, a few small dings. Just a little ping and ding here and there. Still a 65 red. Still a gem coin. Some people have the misconceived perception that a coin has to be nearly completely flaw-free to be a 65. No. That's why you have 66 through 70. 65 has more flaws than a 66, a 67, a 68, a 69, and a 70. So a 65 is allowed to have flaws. Oh, Stephen Elliott. Well, man, I was shooting high for you there, brother. Did not get one, though. Not an RPM number 3. Did get a nice 1956 D Lincoln cent, but I'm sure you were looking for an RPM, which is a little better than what we ended up with. Nice gem coin, though. And that's number 37 in this roll. Now moving on to number 38. CVS. What does CVS get? Coin number 38. Not a number 3 again. Are we seriously going to go there that might be the only number 3 in this entire roll? Yeah, this is a different die from the 2-dot coin. That is true, but it's still not an RPM, not a double die. This one has a whole bunch of old die scratches basically running east and west on the obverse. This is also the one that was a questionable as a doubled eyelid. Now you can see that's not a doubled eyelid. It parallels all the other die scratches in that area. It's one of those things that a few years experience digging around through coins will have you understand that sometimes what looks like is obvious, it obviously is not. You have to take pause and take a look at it. Here's Farm Dog. Oop. That was wood that it dropped on, so it's not going to damage the coin at all. Once in a while, my fingers are so dry and so oil-free, I have no grip. Things slide right out of them. It's a little chip of metal. This is not a bar L. That will come off with a Q-tip most likely. Okay, and that's coin number 39. And that one goes to Farm Dog. Hello, Steve. Well, Stevie, we found one really nice coin here. So far, it goes to Mike Birchman. It's a RPM number 3. It's one of the more major RPMs for 1956D. But we've only found one example so far. We found a number of these where you've got that little die crack coming off the 1 of the date. You've got the D is really close to the 9 of the date. But these coins have no variety. There's nothing to them. Nothing premium collectible with them. And I got nothing else on that coin. Let me go ahead and try to move on to the next one. See what we get there. So that's Adam Connor for you. Coin number 40. Moving on to coin number 41. Shannon McCord. And it's raining outside again. Shannon gets one of the little 1 die crack with the D close to the 9 coins. Yeah, we've had rain pretty much consistently for 2 days now. Off and on, but pretty much consistent. Every couple of few hours, we'll get a rain shower. It's not as bad as I would expect most tropical storms to be, because I've been in tropical storms before. I've been in tropical storms that were very near Category 1 hurricane strength. 55, 60 mile an hour storms, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain. We had one time dumped about 12 inches of rain in about 4 hours. That was in Florida. That was Hermine. It was actually turned into a hurricane, but it was a tropical storm when it was hitting us. It was just dumping water. Lots and lots of rain. That was Hermine. That was in 2017, I believe. 16 or 17. I don't know. I've been through so many of those storms, I don't, right offhand, don't remember their names. No flooding here. Not yet. Not that I've noticed. I mean, we've been under flood advisory, but I live near top of a hill, so I'm not going to have any flooding. You'd be looking at Noah's Ark days to have my house flooded. At coin number 43, this one will go to Steve Patet. Steve Patet will get this one. This one's not the one with the die crack. It's not the one. This is actually a different die, I do believe. I don't remember seeing this one before. Of course, that could be because I may not have been paying very close attention. But I don't remember seeing this before. So that die scratch, that diagonal die scratch down below and to the right of the D. That's something I don't remember seeing yet. No, I don't think I've seen this die. So we have another coin in the roll that could be what I call an uno y solo, one and only. This is my second uno y solo so far. So we've got an RPM number 3, and then we've got this strange little character that doesn't seem to have any family members with it. Only distant cousins. A bunch of 56Ds. But nothing from this die. Yeah, well, I tell you what. If it floods enough to flood my house, I'm just going to go fish until I die. That was a little piece of fuzz or something on the coin. I just wiped it right off. But this one is another of the die crack off the 1 coins. No variety on this one. I'll flip it over and take a look at the other side. We are right now at 1 hour broadcast. We're at 1 hour broadcast. It is 1 o'clock in eastern United States. And now, from AP, UPI, and the major American networks, the news is next on AFN. I remember that. How many of you guys were stationed over in Europe at one point in time? You would remember that. You ever listen to the radio in English when you're in Germany, you're going to hear AFN. The Armed Forces Network. Why do I schedule them when you can't watch? Because, well, you don't tell me when I can schedule them. Let me know when you've got an hour free. I'll schedule a couple of them just so you can watch. All right, this is another non-variety. This is the one that has the die scratch coming down off the 1 toward the center of the 9. This was the very first coin that we pulled out of the roll. Belonged to the same die as this one. This wasn't the first coin. This was the first die. We'll pull it out of the roll. Coin number 1 matches this one. Isabel. Wasn't that just a few years ago? A couple of few years ago? I think I kind of remember that. It was one that didn't really affect Florida. I think it was one that didn't really affect Florida. Here's Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton, coin number 46. Are you absolutely serious? We are only going to get one RPM number 3 out of the roll? Really? We got a lot of nice coins here, though. I'm not complaining about the roll, but why 1? I mean, this was obviously an original bank-wrapped roll. That's some sort of a freakish little thing going on there. It looks like damage, but I've seen another one almost exactly like it. Yeah, it is. It's damage. Little tiny bit of coin damage. Little fleck of problem here and there. Never hurt anyone. Oh, listen to the rain outside. Water in the plants, making the flowers smell good. If it doesn't drown them first. Sireg. It's all my happy little squirrels are inside the trees. Probably playing with all their acorns and nuts. Yep, little squirrels playing with their nuts in the trees. Happy squirrels. That is the magical ingredient to making the planet happy. You start with the squirrels. If the squirrels are happy, then everyone else is happy. Just think about that for a minute. Or don't. Mike Birchman. Now, wouldn't this be funny if this is an RPM number 3? It is not. This is the die dot coin. That stuff that you see inside the 9, that is, I believe, part of the 9 punch that was used in the master die. And they dug down just a little bit too deep when they were punching the 9 into the master die, and that transferred over to all of the working hubs and all of the dies for that year. Almost all of them. There's also an issue with, if you've been paying a lot of attention to 1956D throughout your numismatic journey, you would notice that a lot of them have a broken piece on the bottom of the 6. Now, this doesn't have it, and I don't think any of the coins in this roll had it. But that's also a master die issue. Or it could be a master hub issue. Either way, it's on a lot of the dies, and it's not anything special. Alright, we're up to the last 2 coins in the roll. We got number 49. We'll go to Deanne. And that's going to be the die dot coin. This one was stuck under the counter for just a little while. It's got scrapes across the face from the coin counter. And that is coin number 49. And I have a little bit of a problem. I have a coin that I did not put a name in earlier. I'm going to have to go back and find, because I have 2 names left in the bag and only 1 coin. So I'm going to do, here it is, I'm going to do a toss-up. I found the coin. It's coin number 22. It has no name associated with it. I've got 2 names left. I got Mr. Connor and Thomas. I've got 1 coin left, except for this one. So here's what I'm going to do. Just because I know he's in the audience and I know he's quick to respond, I'm going to say Paul Hampton. Because you're not directly involved in this decision, I am going to write a number on this pad of paper. I'm going to write a number on this pad of paper with my marker here, pull it off screen, and if it matches Paul Hampton, I'm going to leave it in this order. Otherwise, I'm going to swap it. So Paul Hampton, I need a number between 1 and 10, and it's going to be an even or odd number. So even, I leave it the same. Odd, I switch them. So is my number even or odd? Or do you just want to give me a number? It gave me a 4. That's an even number, and I have an odd number. So because I have an odd number, these are going to switch. There we go. So Thomas will get coin number 22. That was this coin. And everybody else on the roll is going to be switched 1 coin forward. Okay, this one had a little bit of a spotting issue. That's an interesting little thing up by the M. No variety because, of course, well, none of these coins had varieties except for 1 coin in the entire roll. Now, Mr. Connor gets coin number 50. This is coin number 50. And it's going to be one of the die crack on the 1 coins. So we have 1 single die variety in this entire roll. Wow. Must have been resting up against another object at one point in time. This was facing out on the roll, so that's why there is a little bit of damage on the obverse of this coin, because it was facing the outside of the roll. And we've got nothing on the reverse on this one, so this coin number 50 belongs to Adam Connor. So what we have, folks, there's no sense in moving coins around because it's pretty simple. It's very simple, actually. Extremely simple. That right there is our die variety for the roll. It is a single 1956D repunchment mark number 3. And I will show it to you up close because, well, we've only got that 1 coin to show that has a die variety, and it's a really nice one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 1956D RPM number 3. It is a D over D North. It was born in 1956 in Denver, Colorado, and sports a very nice hairdo with what looks like a partial L sticking up out of the top of the coin, but that is actually another D mint mark. You can actually see part of the curve going downward back toward the upper curve of the mint mark. There is nothing on the inside of this mint mark, so all of the doubling is right up on top of the D. This is a very well-known RPM, and in early die state, it's very beautiful. This one is mid-die state. The D is beginning to lose its detail. Just beginning. And that's what we have, ladies and gentlemen, for reveal number 147, 1956 Denver Seattle Fed Wrapped Roll. We got 1 RPM number 3, Tune back in at 3 o'clock. We're going to have a 1951D Detroit Fed Reserve roll. This one's going to be an Adam Chambers supplied roll. This is going to be an original bank wrapped roll of 1951D Lincoln cents. It could be amazing. There's every chance that this could be amazing. So I want you guys to go get your lunch, go do what you need to do, come back in a couple hours, and we'll be here. And on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell and hope to see you in a couple of hours. I appreciate it, folks.